As we talked about what's going on as far as the sport is concerned, about 60% of the teams that are in first place around July 4th make the postseason and win their division. Historically, about 60%. And right now, you can add 2 or 3 of those teams right out of the gate. The Astros have a 15-loss column game lead on the Seattles of the world in the American League West. No way they don't win the division. And the Yankees are going to certainly win their division, too. So those two are going to be in no matter what. And now you can throw, I think, probably the Dodgers in. And I think that is your story over the weekend. L.A. did a very, very good job. They beat San Diego 3 out of 4 at home. They've owned the Padres in the last, 12 months or so. They were fortunate, San Diego was, even to get a game. They won the Sunday afternoon game and they had that 4-run uprising in the 9th inning, or the Padres would have been swept. But as it turned out, the Dodgers 1-3. They won yesterday against Colorado. And the Dodgers right now at 49-29 are in very good shape as far as the NL West is concerned, and they will win that division. So San Diego will grapple with maybe others to get a postseason spot as a wild card team. I think that is the one development that we learned over the weekend. The Dodgers, who have had some pitching issues, obviously, with injuries, although Gonsolin has done a tremendous job of picking up the slack. They will need a pitcher at the deadline. We shall see. Dodgers lineup we all know about. I don't love their bullpen. Kimball I don't count on, but listen, the bottom line is L.A., by hook or by crook's going to win around 100 games, and they're going to win the National League West. So then the Astros and the Yankees, they're home free with the 6 divisions. That's 50% of them home. I think the other thing that you keep an eye on National League first is Atlanta, who has not lost really at all. They've been wonderful. They were 23-27. Now they're 12 over. Swanson's been great. They're going to get Soroka back eventually. They beat the Phillies 2 out of 3. They went to Cincinnati, beat the Reds, who they do. Reds are terrible at home. And then yesterday they beat St. Louis. They haven't played the Mets a lot. And so right now you got to like where you stand if you're an Atlanta fan. 4 back in the NL East. They're going to make the playoffs. It's a question of whether or not they can figure out a way to win the division. The Mets are going to get Scherzer here, DeGrom eventually, Soroka maybe for Atlanta. So 2-for-1 advantage for the Mets from that standpoint. Mets haven't been great lately. They won their 50 games at 50-30. I get that. Haven't been wonderful, but and the Braves are 46-34. I think Atlanta has closed the gap enough, and with their culture and everything else, you got to love them to at least challenge the Mets throughout the second half in the NL East. Both should be in pretty good shape. The postseason in the National League is what it is. Milwaukee and St. Louis will battle for the division probably from here into the end of the year, and the loser will then be in the muck with the Phillies and the Cardinals for the 1 spot, or the Phillies and the Giants for the 1 spot. So the loser of Milwaukee and St. Louis fights with Philadelphia and San Francisco to get the 1 extra spot. Mets, Giants, Dodgers, Padres, the NL Central winner, and then that one other team will get in. So we keep an eye on that as far as the NL is concerned. In the American League, again, the aforementioned Yankees and Astros are home free. Minnesota won a nice game yesterday against the White Sox in extra innings. They won 2 late heroic games against the Orioles over the weekend after 2 terrible losses in Cleveland against the Guardians. Minnesota, Buxton's been great when he plays. I mean, to have pitching, it's been better than you think. They would make a trade. You want to make Minnesota and the odds-on favorite to win the division. They got a couple of game lead here on Cleveland. White Sox are flirting with 500. You want to say without a doubt that Minnesota is right there. You can make Minnesota the number 1 team there in that division and be the big-time favorite if you wish. White Sox and then the Guardians will fight. And I don't think the White Sox and Guardians are out of it by any stretch of the imagination. We'll keep an eye on that second-place team in the American League Central and what happens with Tampa in the American League East. Toronto starts a road trip, haven't played that well. Tampa went into Toronto, won 3 out of the 5, the last 3 this weekend. And so and the Red Sox have been pretty good all year despite losing their last 2 series. Red Sox have done a heck of a job after the 11-20 start. So maybe the second-place team in the American League Central fights with that last team or the 4th-place team in the American League East. We'll wait and see on that. I don't buy Seattle yet. I know they've been better, 40-42. I don't buy them at all. But I do think there's a chance for that 2nd or 3rd place team in the American League Central to get in the mix. And White Sox last night with that tragedy in Highland Park, Illinois. Good job by them at the moment of silence and no fireworks and everything else. Another gun tragedy in America. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention that. Hard to believe this is still going on here, but the White Sox did a good job yesterday with the Major League Baseball with the moment of silence, of course, and then the no fireworks on their July 4th day after they they, as it turns out, lost to Minnesota in the 11th inning 6-3. So I would think where you stand right now, the Yankees and the Astros, I think Toronto, Boston, and Tampa will be right in the mix. You throw in the scenario with Minnesota, Cleveland, and Chicago. That's the mix. And I'm not counting the White Sox out by any stretch. They buried the Giants over the weekend. I'm not counting the White Sox out. It was a bad loss yesterday, but I wouldn't count them out. There'll be a free-for-all for those last spot or two in the American League, and there'll be a little bit of a free-for-all probably for the last spot in the NL. This is the second stretch of the year where Trout's been terrible. He struck out galore when the Angels were losing 14 in a row. They walked into Houston over the weekend. They got swept again. His strikeout total is a disaster. I know everybody makes Trout out to be DiMaggio. Go look at the amount of strikeouts DiMaggio's had, and go look at Trout just this year. He strikes out so much. We know how great he is, but you get the idea. The Angels are a complete mess as far as the NL American League West is concerned, the American League. And it sounds like Soto, there might be something to this time contract negotiation with Washington. The Nationals picked up the options on Martinez and Rizzo recently, which would make you think that they will be in play now, even with the ownership scenario up in the air, to bring Soto back and make him a long-term net, which would be good for the sport. So we keep an eye on that. It is what it is as far as the baseball weekend is concerned. The All-Star game is a little later this year with that third week in July. There'll be a lot of action out there in L.A. We look forward to that. The Yankees are the Yankees. They always beat Cleveland. Nobody should be surprised. The Yankees, the Yankees for the first time since 1912 did not play on Memorial Day and on July 4th. They did not. I think about that for a minute. How do you not play on July 4th? Geez. And there's some teams that did not play on July 4th yesterday, so that is a scheduling quirk that I never can figure out as far as the sport is concerned. Anyway, that's where we stand. I think the big development of the weekend to me were the Dodgers, who did what they did, broke away from San Diego, and I'm going to put Toronto in there too. I did not think after they won those first two games against Tampa that they would get beaten a doubleheader, lose the last three games of that series, start a West Coast trip, and lose the first game. It looked like Toronto was trying to make a move northward in the American League East, and instead they may have made a move southward in the American League East.